Hey everybody, it's Melissa and we're talking about niche fragrances that women love, okay? These scents are just irresistible to the feminine nose. If you're newer to my channel, I am a lesbian, so I don't really have any issues wearing masculine fragrances and trying them out. And if you're thinking, wait, what if they're complimenting you on them because they want to wear it themselves? Then I don't want to wear it, right? Trust me, there's a very big difference when someone compliments me on something they find sexy and attractive versus something that, oh, they want to wear it because they think it's a nice perfume. Okay, so as always, I'll put the discount link for all these fragrances in the comment section below with global shipping. That is an affiliate link, by the way, in case you want to support the channel, but buy where you're comfortable. All right, so we are going to start with Sidrat by Mancera. Okay, now this isn't the twist. This is the twist cap. It's not the magnetic cap. And it's just a fruity, woody fragrance, y'all. It kind of reminds me of walking into Jamba Juice in the opening, no lie. But this has fantastic performance. Again, specifically the twist off cap. I can't speak for the magnetic new formulation of the fragrance, but this right here has seriously gotten me compliments the next day. And yes, I am talking after a shower because the performance on it, it just sticks. This fragrance just sticks to my skin. Even when I'm trying to scrub it off, it will just still be there slightly and casually, all right? So this I have gotten over 24 hours of performance with. It actually blew my mind. But if you want me to be really conservative, then I'm gonna say it's gonna go over 15 hours. No problem, okay? Even with just about 3 to 5 sprays. Now, when I wear this fragrance, like as of recently, I've only done a couple sprays because I don't want it to last that long because I want to wear another fragrance the next day typically. But this scent also still has me in a chokehold. Like when I wear it, I will wear it nonstop for 2 weeks and then I have to be like, okay, I need to wear something else because it's just something that it's just so good. Very sexy. I remember I went to, was it like Pizza Hut or Little Caesars, and I walked in and there was a group of girls and they were like, oh my God, you smell so good. And that was like the first, or I think the third time I wore this out in the summertime. So fantastic fragrance to have in your rotation. It is a fresh and clean, but it can be worn when it's really cold. So if you live in a place that experiences all 4 seasons, then this is gonna be like your ray of sunshine, all right? You don't have to worry about performance here because it's so good. It's a nuclear, fresh and clean scent. Okay, the next fragrance we got here is Black Saffron by Byretto. And this fragrance is like, it's one of those intimate, more quiet fragrances that like throws a real 1-2 punch the closer you get to it, all right? So this isn't like Sidrat in a sense that it has an amazing scent trail and then it pushes and it projects. But the sexy thing about Black Saffron is when people give you hugs, when they're getting up close to you. Let's say you're going to a party, it's really loud in there, you're talking to somebody and you're getting closer because you can't hear each other, and then they smell just Black Saffron just wafting off of you. This thing goes crazy, okay? What does it smell like? Saffron, okay? It smells like saffron, but it also has this raspberry sort of scent that really livens up the fragrance, makes it a bit more playful, more flirtatious. The saffron here kind of adds a level of elegance and luxury, and then it has leather in the base. And the leather here, thankfully, doesn't smell like the backseat of your car, all right? It's a very wearable leather fragrance for people that want to smell badass with a touch of classiness. Now, in terms of performance, I noticed this fragrance for about 4 to 5 hours, and I'm not saying it completely falls off after that, but it does linger. You have to put your nose on it kind of after that, but noticeably 4 to 5 hours. I would recommend spraying this on clothes and then also behind each ear. If you haven't seen my videos on how to apply a fragrance, that is the best way to have just that perfect scent bubble. So you can look that up if you want to later on. All right, the next scent here is Ferris by Kajal Perfumes. And this fragrance is just kind of like this fresh, appley scent, okay? It's a very modern, masculine fragrance that isn't gonna break any boundaries, all right? It's nothing that when you smell it, you're gonna be wowed by, okay? Again, if you clicked on this video, you're looking for something sexy to women, all right? So you have to kind of put away the thought of what you find sexy. If you're a guy watching this, the masculine nose, what it finds attractive is different than the feminine nose. So that's why the list here that you see You might be rolling your eyes at them, but these make women weak in the knees. And this type of DNA right here is just something that has been successful for so many years that they just kind of made it, like, you know, a niche house took the reins and then just made it a little bit more refined. But you've smelled maybe something like this at Macy and Sephora. Like if you've tried things like Dior Sauvage, tried things like YSLY, it's kind of in that lane. Doesn't smell exactly like those fragrances, but if you've smelled those scents, then just think of a version of it that's not as screechy, you know? So this fragrance, I remember that the first time I smelled it, I really loved it. I was like, wow, this is really good. And typically my intuition has been, I'm not even gonna say typically, and I don't mean to sound conceit, I'm not trying to sound cocky with this or anything like that, but for me, when I smell something that I find sexy that I wanna wear, it has always been a hit when it comes to women that have smelled it on me. And I think that it comes from the fact that I have the feminine nose and I'm also attracted to women, so I kind of know like what works. There hasn't been a scent that I've tried that has been like a complete miss at all. And this fragrance, I remember loving it in the beginning, and I just haven't really found myself reaching for it as of lately. I just feel like there's other fragrances I really do enjoy. But again, if you're looking for just a starter scent, let's say, and you just want a niche fragrance that's gonna do it all, it's not gonna push too hard, it's gonna be super mass appealing, that it's very versatile, all right? You can wear this anytime, anywhere, dressed up, dressed down, work, school, dates, clubs, then yeah, you can throw on Ferris. In terms of performance, this one was pushing past about 6 hours. And the projection here was actually pretty decent. I did get about an arm's length, but nothing beast mode, all right? The next fragrance I'm gonna show you is Carlisle by Parfums The Marley. And I'm just gonna say that there are gonna be fragrances on this list that are from the same house, because some niche houses put out some fire scents just back to back to back, all right? So Carlisle is one of my favorite fragrances from Parfums The Marley. And this, I believe it has nutmeg. I believe it has patchouli. But if I were to just tell you that it's not the notes that are the first thing I noticed with something like Carlisle. When I smelled it for the first time, and even when I smell it till now, it reminds me more of a vibe and just like a type of personality, right? So for me, when I smell something like Carlisle, it has a badass, luxurious vibe, kind of like Black Saffron, right? But just more, how do I say this? I don't want to say elegant, because it is elegant. It's a dangerous, sexy type of fragrance, this one right here. It just reminds me of somebody that is wealthy, but dangerously sexy. You know what I mean? You kind of see that person and you're like, oh, I want to get to know them, but I'm kind of intimidated with them. Like, that is Carlisle in a sense. And performance, 12 hours, no problem. All right, for myself, I only do about one spray of this fragrance on the back of my clothes, because I don't need it to perform that well, because I already know that it does well. So for me, less is more in terms of this scent, because once women catch a whiff of this in the air, it just draws so much attention, because it is nothing like what you smell, at least here in the States. In the West, a lot of people aren't wearing fragrances that kind of have a little bit of that Arabic touch, right? Some Middle Eastern fragrances are very unique and bold to the Western noses over here, right? And Carlisle does it very well, where it's just like this bold, almost kind of like Middle Eastern fragrance, but they make it a little Western, you know? So this has gotten me stupid compliments from women. And I'm just talking like they are all over this scent, okay? You could go back on my videos where I was first talking about Carlisle, and you'll see a very successful track record from the past 2 years of this fragrance with me using it. And I've also, you know, sprayed some of these fragrances on guys as well, and then I'll have them report back to me on their experiences for the night. And Carlisle is just a winner. It's a winner. Now, I do find this to be more of a mature fragrance, 25 and up. I don't think a 16-year-old will pull this off. If you're in high school and you're in college, you're not going to reach the true potential of this fragrance being kind of that youthful and smelling like this. Like, this is somebody coming into their prime, somebody that's hit their prime, even an older demographic. Like I said, somebody very wealthy. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't even want to say very wealthy, but it just has a sort of grownness to it. And when I say mature, I'm not talking like, you know, geriatric, all right? The next fragrance I am going to mention is again from Parfums The Marley, Percival. And let me tell you, the ladies love Percival. Okay, so Percival kind of smells like Fierce by Abercrombie and Fitch, but a more grown version of it, a more refined version of the fragrance, which is why I believe it does so well, because Fierce was a hit back in the day. If you've ever been to any Abercrombie and Fitch before they did their redesign, when they were just in the mall and they had literally no lighting in their store, and the music was just bumping and you could smell a scent from outside the store, all right? So many girls at that time loved the smell of Fierce, right? So I'm not surprised that nearly 20 years later, from when that was a huge phenomenon, Parfums The Marley releases something like Percival that smells like that. And what do you know? Again, women in their 20s, in their 30s, even teenagers are loving this scent. Now, I'm cautious using the word teens. I'm not talking high school. If anything, I would talk minimum 18 years old. But again, niche fragrances, at least the majority of teens that DM me and stuff aren't willing to put down $300 on a bottle, and I get that. You know what I mean? So don't think you need to put down $300 to get a nice fragrance, all right? I've got a lot of teenager recommendations if you're watching, but hey, if you want to, totally up to you. So Percival is just, again, fun, flirty, youthful, but still, like, you know what? Here's what I'll say. It's kind of like it's like the business major. You know what? It's like the frat guy that grew up and now he's in like working Wall Street. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. I know that that has like a negative sort of, like when you think of that, a lot of women are just like, they don't really, it's kind of a bit of a turnoff, but that's what I mean, where it's just like, it's, you know what, let me throw out, let me throw out that example. Okay, it's kind of like the athletic guy in high school that has become like a successful sales guy in his career. All right, let's say that. Okay, so that's basically what Percival is. It's like this aquatic. When I say aquatic, it's just because it reminds me of the beach. Like this fragrance reminds me of beach volleyball. It just reminds me of summer flings. It's just so, I can't even tell you exactly what the notes are in particular with this scent, but I will tell you that when I went to Nordstrom and I was trying a bunch of Parfums The Marleys, she told me that Percival is the most popular, that women end up buying for their boyfriends, that guys end up getting when they're with their girlfriends, because the ladies love it. All right, so Percival, good. It's here for a very good reason. The next fragrance I am going to mention is Blue Agave by Precious Liquid, and this thing is a sleeper. I think out of everything in this list, this is the most affordable fragrance. This is probably like $110, $120. So it's priced like a designer scent is, but again, this is like a 1.7, so 50 ml, right? So this scent, this smells like doing sexy body shots on the beach. You know what I mean? You got those tequila, you got those tequila shots going, you got the lime going, like the sun's beating down on you, you're having a good time, you're kind of drunk a little bit, but it's just like everyone's there and everyone's just being sexy. Everyone's hot. You know what I mean? That is Blue Agave. It's not your typical citrusy, lemon, orange fragrance that you're gonna have a lot of people smelling like in the summertime. It smells like agave, and it just smells like it's a fun fragrance, especially if you're somebody that likes to work out, right? Let's say that that's a part of your daily routine and you shower up after, or even when you're going to your workout, you can throw this fragrance on and you're gonna smell great. When sweat is at like your sweat, your body heat activates this fragrance even more. It turns it up. It turns the sex appeal of this fragrance even higher when you're kind of a little bit sweaty wearing something like Blue Agave. Like wear this to the beach, wear it to pools, wear it to anywhere if you're gonna have your shirt off or something like that and it's hot outside. Blue Agave is a fire fragrance. I remember that I actually had a couple people, I think maybe 3 months ago, maybe around Christmas time, come into my collection, and this guy was like, hey, I'm trying to find a new fragrance, because I put him on Y by YSL, and he was about, I think 19 at that time. And he's like, I want something different though, because I'm smelling so many designer fragrances. He didn't like Bleu de Chanel because he's like, every guy smells like that where he is. So I said, okay, let me get you something. His girlfriend was with him, right? So the first one I pull out was blue agave because I said, you want something fresh and clean, you want something sweet. And he said fresh and clean. So I pull out blue agave and he smells it. He's like, oh, I like this. So he sprays it on himself. And he's like, yeah, oh, this is super good, right? And then his girlfriend smells it and she's like, oh, I really like that. I really like that. You should get that. And then literally in the span of 30 seconds, he pulls out cash from his wallet, gives it to me, and he's like, can I just have that bottle? So I gave him that bottle. So this right here is a new bottle of blue agave in my collection for me to showcase to you all. But fantastic scent. Women love this fragrance. All right, next up, we've got a Creed. All right, and this is Creed Aventus Cologne. Please note the cologne, not the original. Notice how the bottle is gray here and it's not black, all right? And I'm not being dramatic about it. It's just that whenever I mention this fragrance, for some reason, people just disregard the cologne and they automatically think of the original. I'm not talking about the original, all right? So Creed Aventus Cologne is a pineapple fragrance, okay? It's a pineapple fresh and clean fragrance that has become very, very popular. You're gonna have a lot of dupes that probably are trying to imitate this scent right here. And the reason I'm recommending Creed Aventus Cologne to you instead of the original is because this lacks not the pineapple note, the smoky note that the OG has. Now, the smoky note in the original Creed Aventus is what, in my opinion, from my personal experience, all right, when I've talked to guys, when they've told me all that sort of stuff, when I've tested it myself, guys love the complexity of the smoky note. They're like, oh, this is what makes it different. It's what makes it bold. It adds that sort of masculinity to it, right? So they love it. But when I would test them side by side, the women were not liking the smoky note from the original Creed Aventus because it was just, they found it a little bit off-putting, right? And guys found the Aventus Cologne to be not as daring, too simple, too basic, right? Whereas women found it to be really sexy and attractive because it was a simple fragrance and it didn't have something that was trying to be challenging, trying to be masculine. It was just effortlessly sexy. So Creed Aventus Cologne, fantastic fragrance if you want a nice, fresh and clean. In terms of performance, I will say that noticeably, I got about like 5 hours here. And it is a good scent, by the way. Even for me, I've worn this on hot days and I'm like, this shit smells so good. I've layered it with Moleculo 2 and Moleculo 1. And it was just literally like a home run. Like I knocked it out of the park with that combination, with both those combinations. But Aventus Cologne, again, if you're looking to be sexy to women, I would recommend getting this one over the original. All right, next up, we've got, I gotta knock these out, all right? Another Parfums The Marley. Okay, I said in the beginning of this video, there are going to be houses here that are more, like, usually I try not to have, like, more than a couple fragrances from the same house, but I got to keep it real with you. Okay, I'm not just going to gatekeep a couple fragrances because, oh, I already put too many Parfums The Marleys in here. No, I got to let you in on the whole, full truth. What I'm holding in my hand is something called Kalan. Now, Kalan was a scent that I honestly wasn't that excited to try because I got a lot of guys that were in my YouTube comments saying, can you try Kalan? Or did you try Kalan? I didn't like it. It was so average at best. There were like a lot of negative responses from Kalan. And again, mind you, none of these responses were coming from women. They were just guys telling me to try Kalan because it's the newest fragrance at the time. And, you know, so there's a lot of like negativity. I wasn't excited to try it. So I try it and I like it, right? I was like, okay, like this is nice. I wasn't in love with it, but I liked it. Okay, so to me, this was, I don't want to say fresh and clean, but it was almost like this after the shower clean, but it had a touch of sweetness to it and also like a sexy bell pepper note in here that was very interesting to me that apparently I was the only one that picked up because after I tried this by myself, and by the way, like the first time that I tried this, I received compliments from 2 different women and they were like, oh yeah, that smells really nice. And again, I liked it, but I wasn't in love with it, right? So fast forward to when my girlfriend, it asked me to wear this. Or I made a separate video on Kalan, right? To get her reaction to it. I just wanted her honest opinion. She loved this scent. She's like, oh, that's so sexy. She seriously could not get enough of this fragrance. That video is still up on my channel in case you want to watch it, even on my TikTok. But I was surprised at how much she loved Kalan. And then she immediately was like, you need to wear that with salt and pepper. And she was like, you need to layer those two right now. So after the video, I did that. She was all over it. She loved that combination. To her, she didn't pick up a sexy bell pepper note. She thought that this was like a fresh out the shower type of fragrance. Again, that had that touch of sweetness, not vanilla sweet, but it was just kind of like, I don't know if you've tried a fragrance called Mont Blanc Legend Spirit. It's like a fresh deodorant scent that has a little bit of that sweetness. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, it's not something you want to wear in extreme high heat, but it is something that you can wear like in the springtime. If you wanted to wear it in the summer, you could get away with it, but I wouldn't, just because I have other preferences for the summertime. But yeah, Kalan, I was like, dang, you really like this? And she said like she wanted like a sample of it for herself, just to like spray it on like a sweater that I gave her, because she's like, oh yeah, no, this is so good. Like, it's something that's cuddly. She's like, it smells like something that's professional, like somebody that's like on top of their shit, like financially, career-wise, and like to her, that's like super, super sexy, right? And then on top of that, it's a clean scent that has like a bit of that sexy sweetness to it. And I was like, okay, I see that, right? So this is a scent that I wear for her. Again, I like it, but I don't nearly love it as much as she does, and as much as other women have that have smelled this on me, all right? The next fragrance I am going to mention is from Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and this is called Gentle Fluidity Silver. And this right here is a nice professional fragrance. This gives CEO, all right? So if that's what you're trying to go for, you're trying to be a CEO, or you are a CEO, or president of a corporation, whatever the case is, if you're in that big baller, like high like tier, then I would recommend something like Gentle Fluidity Silver, because it's clean, but it's a scent that most people just haven't smelled before. All right, there's a lot of fresh and cleans out there in the world that are very like ambroxan heavy, very typical modern fragrances that you can smell at any local mall, right? But Gentle Fluidity Silver is almost like an icy cool fragrance. If you've played Mortal Kombat, you know what's his name, Sub-Zero, like that kind of icy cool. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it smells like, have you ever like, you know, 50 Shades of Grey, the main guy in that? Remember how that was a huge phenomenon with like women? They were like, oh my God, Christian Grey is so sexy. He's like this businessman that is really into BDSM essentially, but they were just like, in his work environment, he just like, he has like cold eyes. He's like super focused, very dominant personality. That is kind of who I envision Gentle Fluidity Silver, in that type of work environment. You know what I mean? So very nice fragrance. And the scent trail here is also something that surprised me. It's something that lingers, a fantastic fragrance to have in your rotation if you're looking for something with uniqueness and versatility. I really do love this scent. I used to use it a lot. It doesn't look like it, but I mean, this thing was filled to the top. But again, there's been other things that have replaced it for me, all right? The next fragrance I'm gonna mention is the one that has probably the biggest dent. Well, there's a couple here that have big dents. But Salt and Pepper by Precious Liquid, this is the one that my girlfriend wanted me to layer with Kalan. And even this as a standalone scent is fantastic. If you're newer to my channel, the way I got put onto this fragrance was from my girlfriend, because she bought a scent from Max Aroma and they sent her like 2 other samples, and one of them was called Salt and Pepper. So she tries it and she's like, oh, this is super sexy. I'm gonna send it to you. So she sends it to me. She's like, you need to FaceTime me when you get it so I can see your reaction to it, right? So she FaceTimes me in the parking lot of a Subway, because I wanted to get the Subway cookies, right? So I apply this fragrance, the sample of it. Smells like your typical sort of masculine fragrance. Nothing really that special. I was like, I don't really get it. I mean, I get it, but not in love with it, right? And she's like, just wait till the dry down. And I said, okay, I'll call you later because I want to go get my order. I want to place my order, pick up that sort of stuff. So I'm in the line at Subway, and by the time I'm paying for my cookies and whatever sandwich I got, I was in my mind, I was like, oh, okay, this is what she's talking about. Because the dry down of the scent started to hit, and I was like, oh, this is hot. I was like, this is sexy. So I call her back, and she already has like this knowing smirk on her face. And I was like, okay, you're right. She's like, I told you. She's like, you need to wear that around me because it's a sexy fragrance, okay? It is a peppery scent. It does have ambroxan, but it's not a screechy fragrance. It's very well rounded. It is something that to me is better suited for people 20s and up. If you are a teen, I mean, you can try to wear a fragrance like this, but I think that there's more of a maturity to this scent that is just like so sexy to women. All right. And let me tell you that after that, right, I was wearing, like, I went through that sample so freaking fast. I've been through like 3 samples of this fragrance, like even while I had a full-size bottle of the scent after I got the little sample of it, right? I kid you not, every single woman that I encountered, even if they were a stranger when I was at the grocery store, if they could smell me, they complimented me on this scent. I was followed by this woman at Costco asking me what I was wearing, and she like wrote down what it was because she's like, you smell so, she's like, I haven't smelled anybody that smells that good. I want to get that for my husband. That's what she said. I wore this at restaurants. I wore it to grocery stores when I was running errands. I wore it to the P.O. box. Every woman complimented me on this scent. And I know you might think, oh, that's some bullshit. I literally have videos of it. Not like me putting the camera to the face of these women, but tracking, like telling you guys, documenting this shit happened today and it was wild. So this scent has just been, it's like kind of my secret weapon. It is my secret weapon in terms of fragrances in my collection, because the more I've worn it, the more I've fallen in love with this fragrance, because I know why women love it. And what I think is great about the scent, at least for me, is the fact that when I know guys smell this, they're not going to think anything special of it, right? They're going to kind of have that impression that I did the very first time. But again, they have the masculine nose and they're just not wowed with a scent like this. So it's just kind of something that they'll smell. They won't really put money down for because they themselves don't really like it. But again, and that's all well and good, by the way. It benefits people like me, right? But again, if you are looking for a fragrance that is something that's gonna have women weak in the knees, you're looking for that scent. You're looking for the fragrance that no other guy around you will be wearing, because first of all, they don't know about it. Second of all, if they do know niche fragrances, they don't know this brand or this fragrance. It's just like, you have the uniqueness, you have the scent nobody is wearing, and you also have the scent everybody wants to wear because they're noticing all of the positive attention you're getting. In fact, I remember I got a DM from this guy. I've gotten actually multiple DMs with these sort of situations, but this one stands out in my mind because it's the first one that I got, where he said that he went to the bar with a bunch of his guy friends. I think there was maybe 6 of them, right? And they're all wearing different colognes, and he's like, I threw on salt and pepper. And he said that the guys that he was with ended up asking what he was wearing because girls were only complimenting him. They were like, you smell so good. They were like, can you tell us what it is? And he was just getting a lot of women, like their attention. He was getting so much of their attention that a couple of his friends ended up getting salt and pepper, which kind of pissed him off when he told them, because he was like, I should have kept it because now like my friends are starting to smell like me and stuff. But there have been situations like that where guys would DM me and be like, I really didn't like it at first when I wore it by myself, but when I wore it around women, it was like bees to honey. It was just like an automatic, like it was just very, very sexy. And I'm telling you, I don't make this shit up, all right? The next fragrance is, oh shit. The next fragrance is Elysium by Raja Parfums. This one probably has the biggest dent, but this one has been in my collection much longer than Salt and Pepper has. And Elysium is another fresh fruity fragrance. Now, it's a juniper berry scent, and grapefruit, right? But on me, it smells more like a lemon pineapple cocktail. Very refreshing, kind of reminds me of a tropical vacation. It's just a laid back, easygoing, life of the party fragrance that just does the trick. Now, this fragrance gets love from both men and women whenever I've worn it, but this video is more focused on women's reactions, and this is just an immediate compliment getter from initial spray to the dry down of it. I remember, and if you've watched my videos, you've probably seen this one where I was at this party. I did get messed up, okay? I'm not even going to try to downplay it, right? So I drank a bit too much, but throughout that whole day, I had a few people ask me what the name of my fragrance was. This girl wanted me to text it to her because she really liked it so much, right? At the end of the night, I was yakking, right? And there was like a group of people around me just trying to console me and stuff, and they're like, damn, you smell good. And they took turns smelling me while I was like yakking. I know that sounds gross, but it was just such a surreal experience that I've never had before, that I like, it's now ingrained in my mind. Like now when I wear Elysium, I'm like, people loved this when I was throwing up. And that, it sounds disgusting, but this shit was, it's so good. It is so freaking good. It was wild. All right. And the next fragrance is Naxos. I got one more after this, y'all. I know this is a long video, but Naxos by Xerjoff is a great sweet fragrance. All right. This scent right here, this gives Mafia Boss vibes. Okay. It's like this tobacco honey scent. The honey definitely more dominant than the tobacco. It rounds out the tobacco. It doesn't make it as sharp. It doesn't make it as polarizing. It just neutralizes that the sex appeal of the tobacco and makes it just very mass appealing. Okay, so Naxos is a scent that is a superstar in the house of Xerjoff. I've talked about this fragrance nonstop before for very good reasons. If you live somewhere where it's cold all the time and you want something that's gonna push, something that will push past 12 hours, something that kind of gives you like, you know, when you wear it, there's something about it that, okay, like why are my shoulders going back and down? You know, why like my posture has just significantly gotten better because this fragrance right here, it kind of, you can't, if you're very like closed off into yourself wearing a loud scent that's as powerful as Naxos, the fragrance is going to wear you, right? So you want to make sure that you're the one that wears the fragrance. And there's just a sort of confidence that just, it gives you this sort of confidence when you're wearing that you're like, oh yeah, I'm the shit. You know what I mean? This fragrance just smells so damn good. And I know I've hardly used this much of it, but that's because I only do about 1 to 2 sprays of it. So you might be looking at my bottle, you're like, yeah, you don't use that shit. And I mean, if you compare it to the Fresh and Cleans, of course not, because more sprays are required off of those. But this, only 1 spray, only even 2 sprays, and that thing will last on my clothes even after I run it in the laundry. That's how powerful Naxos is. Lastly, we've got Silver Mountain Water by Creed. All right, so this fragrance right here is a scent that I remember I had girls come and smell fragrances in my collection. And actually, was it that? No, or that was a different time. Okay, no, this is still like a similar situation, 2 different times. Okay, but I had girls smell fragrances in my collection, and this was one that they were just in love with. In fact, well, there was girls and there were guys, right? So I had both people, both genders, smell the fragrance, and guys were just like, and they would spray it on themselves. Like, yeah, okay, it's like, it's a fresh fragrance, okay, it's nice. But girls, when they smelled it, they were like, oh, that's hot. They're like, that's really sexy. All right, so this fragrance is crisp. It's a more unique Fresh and Clean fragrance because it smells very nature-esque. If you like doing things like hiking and you want a fragrance that kind of embodies that and that you could still wear at a professional workplace, you can wear when you're going on a date, you can wear if it's hot outside, or you wear it with like a white button-down shirt, Silver Mountain Water is going to smell so good. This thing garners so many compliments from women. I've made this video before about how men think that Creed Aventus, the original Creed Aventus, is a panty dropper when in fact it's actually Silver Mountain Water. All right, you can watch the whole video if you want to, because I remember getting DMs from guys that were pissed after they watched a bunch of reviews from all these dudes saying that, oh, Creed Aventus is the best, but they were mad because they were only getting compliments from other guys. They're like, how come only dudes are complimenting me on this? And I'm like, the one that women actually love in that house, generally speaking, all right, and also from my personal experience, is Silver Mountain Water. All the women that have been in my comment section, in my DMs, whenever I've brought up this fragrance, even when I haven't brought up this scent, are just like, Silver Mountain Water is my weakness. So I'm gonna put it in this video because it deserves a place, rightfully so. In terms of performance, it's noticeable for about like 4 to 5 hours. I do get longer performance on this fragrance. It does stick to my skin, but I do want to give you a general number because, I mean, on me, I've still gotten compliments on this past 7 hours, but a majority of people won't get that type of performance with a fragrance like this. People complain that it only lasts for about 3 to 4, you know, so I want to just give you conservative numbers in case, you know. So there it is. Again, the discount link and discount codes for all these fragrances comment section below in case you guys want to save some money. Again, it is an affiliate link. If you do make a purchase from those things to support my channel, I would really appreciate it. If not, totally cool. Please buy where you're comfortable, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, take care.